we are doing everything humanly possible. Because what we try to do is to get the funding of the technical crew completely out of the federation. We have our consultants, financial derivatives. Though it's very difficult right now because one or two companies that initially agreed, because of the economy, you can't blame them. But I can tell you that we are not owing him. Not just him, we're also looking at the Nigerian coaches as well. So whatever we are doing for him, we also deal with the Nigerian. We're also thinking of doing for the Nigerian coaches as well. So it's something all encompassing. It's not just because he's a foreign coach, we want to look at him, we want to deal with everybody. But the reality is that the economy is not very palatable.
Welcome back, President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Pinega, talking about the payment of salaries for the technical crew of the Super Eagles. I mean, times are hard.
Yeah.
This is the time when we need to be economical. This is the time when management needs to be top-notch, you know. And the NFF, they are so keen that we don't need to go to every competition, that they need to cut down on some of the 8th-grade competitions. You think that's the right move?
I mean, we've discussed this countless number of times. I think it's the right move if that's not the only thing we're doing.
Okay.
If while we're doing that, we concentrate our efforts to develop the league, to allow all those clubs, whether they are owned by states or individuals or privately owned, ensure that, you know, they are run well. They have, you know, feeder teams, they have feeder teams, they have age grade teams, they're discovering talents and all those. I mean, you look at all these European nations, they don't take the age grade competitions as seriously as we do. They don't win it as much as we do. But they produce talents.
That's right.
And the players, because there are a lot of incentives. Most players in the system in Nigeria just play to get out of poverty. You know, they just see football as a way out of poverty, nothing more. And it's really sad. You can even do a lot while you're making money. I mean, look at all of those players. You know, some of those foreign players, not all, but a large number of them. The intelligence when they ask questions, when they answer questions. I mean, how they live their lives. Like some of these players, when they start earning little money, they start throwing it away and all that. So I mean, we need orientation. We need to focus our efforts not just on winning. I've always believed that if you jump up, you'll come down. And what we've been doing with winning all of these age grade tournaments is just jump up.
You want to ask yourself, where are the players from the class of Chris Santos Macaulay? Where are the class of players from Nigeria 2009? You know,
that won silver, at the under 17. And you might even begin to ask yourself, even the guys that won in 2013 under 17, just show me where they are. And these days we feel a lot better about the age grade teams because you can see from the evidence that they're a lot younger than they used to be. But then what are we doing to ensure that these guys in the prime of their lives are not going to Lebanon, they're not going to...
But I mean, that's the debate out there. You know, football fans will argue, now if you want to, you know, reduce the number of age grade competitions you attend, how will we know Kelechi Iheanacho, Taiwo Awoniyi, Musa Yahaya, you know, because if they had not gone to the World Cup, we wouldn't have Isaac Promise. You know, how would we know about them? So it's difficult.
If you have a good system, you don't need a player to play at the under 17 before you know them. I mean, how many of the Dele Alis, all those guys that play in England, how many of them did you get to see at the under 17? You understand? As long as there's a system that ensures progression, as long as there's a system that ensures that footballers pass through all the right phases, they pass through all of those phases, and you know they become a thoroughbred professional, that ensures that, you know, the production line will be intact. But what happens is that I think even the footballers benefit more. That is why everybody will fight tooth and nail to ensure that my brother, my cousin, my son is in that under 17 team, because it's a gateway. But if we now focus our efforts on developing Nigerian players, irrespective of where they're from, just developing them, having a large pool, having programs.
That's right.
That's for them. And
who says we can't organize competitions here?
And they're emphasizing this idea, of course, when you succeed in football, it hurts poverty. but that should not be your motivation.
Yeah.
The motivation should be making a career out of the round leather game. And if you make a career, money is the incentive. It's going to come. But if money is the first thing
that you have on your mind,
that you're thinking about, that's why those guys end up where they end up.
First thing first, you now get to the competition and you find out your team cannot go beyond the first round, and then you start thinking you're not a talent because you just had the win at all cost mentality to the competition.
Wow. And that's the problem in this part of the world. And I'm hoping it changes. I'm hoping, I mean, if we can, it's not as if we don't have these programs, but if we can follow through, that's my fear. If we take away the opportunity of youngsters showing the world what they can do at under 17 and maybe at under 20, we must compensate them with quality programs that ensure progression for all talented footballers. All. That's the key word there. All talented footballers. You don't need to know anybody. And that's what happens in those advanced countries. As long as you're good.
That's right.
Scouts watch players at age 8, age 9.
They just go to
9, they're already signing. They're already signing. I mean, I remember Manchester United got into problems because of Paul Pogba. Signed him from, I think, one French club at that point, and they were accused of signing him. He was under 18 at that time, and some of those problems. But they discovered that. And it wasn't as if he's played for any age.
And where is it today?
One of the best, most paid footballers. So we need to do that. It's not just about stopping those young guys from going to, because we can't afford it. That's the reality. But if you're doing that, ensure that you're having programs that everyone will benefit from.
Yemi, I cannot agree less with you. Let's hear your thoughts on this subject. We have opened a conversation on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is channels_sports. We're asking you, what's your opinion of football in Nigeria in 2016? I was getting loads of messages. We will read some of those messages now. Chiedoze Ebe says, potentials for the Eagles are surely there, no doubt, but the recent flaws of the current NFF board, do we have an assurance they will solve? Let's just keep supporting the team. They're doing so well at the moment. Chinedu Echiano says, this new idea by the NFF that we should not attend all competitions is not acceptable. Kids like Kelechi Iheanacho will not be discovered if we do. And Yemi cleared that doubt. Yemi says, look, we can put up programs here. And I totally agree. We can organize competitions nationwide. We can get them to play other African teams. We can monitor. We can nurture these talents and they will get better. Quintessential 17 on Twitter says, just average. We could have done better. Yes, we could have done better. And that's what we want you to tell us. What are the things we can do for Nigerian football in 2016 and consolidate upon in 2017? Chinedu Echiano again says, we should try as much as possible to cut down age cheats rather than not participating in age grade competition. He is an advocate that we still need to go for those competitions, but we should do our homework, fight age cheats. But it's really difficult because everybody just wants to go to international.
If you have programs, you have a database, you make your club strong that they can. I mean, how many clubs can you recommend a youngster to? How many clubs have structures that will absorb? I mean, those are the things we're talking about. And if we put those structures in place, if you have a 10-year-old, you rather take your savings and call a friend in England and say, my 10-year-old cousin is coming. But if we have structures here, you could say, okay, I have a friend in 3SC, just go and try out. Don't even write any letter or whatever, just go and try out. And if you have a system that ensures that there's progression of talent, that is key. If you have a system that once you are talented, without knowing anybody, you can make progress. I mean, that's why I said, making the clubs run well, whether they are owned by states, by government, it doesn't matter. But if they are running well, I mean, if I have maybe 40 youngsters, can a club like MFM absorb those 40 youngsters? Can they continue their progression at that club? Do I have a system that ensures that they migrate from this level to that level, all the phases that ensure that they are developing? Not that when a 10-year-old starts to kick the ball, I'm thinking of how I can, just put him on a plane, take him to Liverpool, even if he's going to sign a slave deal. All of those things we need to look at. And that's why you see that Brazilian players are not cheated.
That's right.
Some of those South American countries, there are those structures. They see it as a business.
Yeah.
They're not throwing money around. They see it as a business, and they ensure that, look, if you're going to export our talent, you will pay through your nose.
Yeah.
And that's why you're going to see a 17-year-old that you don't know anything about, and you're hearing 50 million.
Wow.
Because there's a system that has protected the youngster from exploitation, and there's a system that ensures that it grows. You and I can tell tales of players when we were in secondary school, when we were in primary school, that you knew only if this guy had some support.
Yeah.
This guy will probably be better than JJ.
I agree.
But there's nothing here that supports. And that is why everybody will want to kill themselves to ensure that you get into the under 17, you get into the under 20. At the end of the day, not the best players get to be in the national teams. But if there's a system that ensures that, look, I don't need to know where you're from.
That's right.
As long as you're talented.
Yeah. And if we do the right thing, it will be the entire team we will be talking about. We will not say because this, yes, 3-4 players were exceptional, but we say this team is good. We're still talking about the class of 1994. Class is permanent. And Yemi said something very important, that if our football has the proper monitoring system in place, that players will not sign slave contracts. Which brings us to the issue of agents and player contract issue. Let's listen to this report. When we come back, we'll talk about it and get more messages on Twitter and Facebook. Don't go anywhere. Stay. Young Nigerian talents can do anything to achieve their dream of playing in Europe, but it will never become a reality without involving a football agent. The agent acts as a mediator between a player and a club. Some see the player as their property, but when a contract goes wrong, who gets the blame?
It's the agent. So because he's the mediator, he's the one in the middle. So it's to see to the contract, in and out of the contract.
Understanding a contract before signing is vital. In 1987, Nigerian sensation Philip Osondu won the Golden Ball at the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in Canada, but due to cheap negotiations, he suffered a poor career in Europe.
This is why in some developed nations, they still call for managerial courses for players, managerial courses for how to manage contracts.
Language is also a major barrier when signing contracts. Sometimes agents are too hasty in acquiring clubs for their players. Former Super Eagles player Ahmed Garba, popularly called Yaro Yaro, was a victim when his move to Borussia Dortmund in 1997 failed.
You don't go to Europe without going through the English FA. It is not possible. Our players must admit, look, you have to go through the FA. When you go to the FA, we record you. We know where you are. That is the only way we can do it. Simple.
Since 2000, FIFA has been in a fight against exploitative clubs, unscrupulous African managers, and greedy European agents, and they want federations to join the campaign.
Actually, the first country to sign up to the FIFA DTMS, domestic transfer system. And we're also the first country to also assign to what's called the FIFA Connect, whereby every football stakeholder from age 10 is signed up to FIFA with a special code.
So that's it, the agent versus player issue still lingers. When a contract goes right, the agent and the player share the credit. When it goes wrong, it's totally on the agent. Now, family members are taking the role of agents. That makes this issue an even interesting one. Austin Okonakman, Channels Television News. So it's all around football development that we are giving attention to tonight on the program. Yemi, this agent and player issue will continue to linger because sometimes an agent just wants to exploit a youngster, tells the parents, I'm taking this guy abroad, he's going to go to school, he's going to play football. Meanwhile, it's just for a selfish gain.
Yeah, and I mean, you just need little things to entice a drowning man. You know, I mean, I don't know if that's the right expression. Anyway, you see, people are just so cheap. You know, while we're looking at your report, I was trying to tell you about how much money some of these professional agents make. We're talking about Pedro Mendes, Mineral. I mean, just don't even talk. I know how much the Paul Pogba's agent made from this so-called $100 million that we're talking about. But you see, we don't have structures. And that's why I feel these guys are cheap. They exploit the fact that we don't have structures.
That's right.
And
no monetary mechanism in place.
But that's why I said they're cheap. You could make more if you ensure that things are done properly, and you take a guy under your wings. Touré's agent, Dimitri Seluk, you saw how he got involved, Touré and Pep Guardiola's issue, because he knows, look, if this guy is not playing, I'm not going to get paid.
Even if he needs to leave Man City somewhere else, I need a better negotiation.
But there's a structure, and nobody is exploited.
We'll come back to that issue, Yemi. Let's take a breather now. We'll come back. We'll continue this issue on player and agent contract issue. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.